Hey, Sooner fans, welcome back to another podcast of Champion Standard. He's your host, Rob. I'm co-host Brad. He's the main guy, man. He does all the work behind the scenes. I'm just the glue that keeps it together, Rob. That's all I am. So.
Yep.
Welcome back. Um, we're getting used to coming on these podcasts a couple of days after a loss, so here we are again. We're in familiar
Right.
territory. So we'll recap the game today. Or I'm sorry, we'll recap the game. I guess it was Friday? It's been a couple of
Friday.
days now. Yeah.
Friday morning at 11 a.m.
Yeah, we've been more than used to that time slot. Might as well play a bowl game then too.
Right.
So we'll recap the game a little bit and then get into a few other things. Coaching changes, other things with the program. So
Zac Alley leaving, some portal players, more just bad news piling up constantly. Let's dive into all of it with a smile.
All of it. Might as well. Both of us put our fake smiles on and proceed. Yeah. So, yeah, the bowl game down in Fort Worth Friday. Exciting finish. I'll say that much. Got off to a good start. First 10 minutes looked positive.
Yeah. Great script.
14 points. Mm-hmm. Hawkins moving the offense. And then we fell asleep for the next 3 quarters until the last few minutes of the game offensively.
Yeah.
Didn't sniff the end zone until there at the end of the game. And, of course, went for 2 and didn't get it. Brent said if he had to do it all over again, he would have did the same thing. But
oh, really? He said that?
Yeah, that's what he said.
Oh.
I know. I don't know what to think about that. It's always one of those things. Hey, if we convert it, everybody's happy. It was the right thing to do, right? So,
anyway. you had a great start, like you mentioned. We had a great script. We distributed the ball, and then we just started shooting ourselves in the foot over and over again, like we always, we've done all year. 2 minutes left to go in the game. We drive down the field. Hawkins had a great drive. I mean, he just distributing the ball left, right, going through progressions, keeping it alive, scrambling, making plays, getting rid of it and not turning the ball over. That was good to see. Mm-hmm. And we had Navy on the ropes. Their defense, they had their hands on their hips. They looked they were getting tired. And we go and we score, wide open touchdown, great look, great pass, great play. And I get it, you got the momentum, but I just feel like it's kind of reeks of desperation going for a 2-point conversion there where you can kick it and you make Navy defend you for another at least 2 more overtimes, and you got your defense that can come out and help seal the game, which is your strength of your team is your defense. Now they were struggling, but you give them an opportunity to wear them out. I think we win that game if we go in overtime, but I understand the 2-point because you had the momentum and you were driving, but when Hawkins in the 2-point conversion, Brad, we've had some 2-point conversions with him. Did he ever throw the football?
No. Not that I'm aware of.
So I remember there's been a few when he got into that goal line area, that within 5 red area, he would always take off to his right. And I just thought it was kind of interesting. Navy sent pressure on his right.
Right.
So I felt like there was maybe some game prep there and preparing for Hawk to take off. And he was looking to pass, but I think they planned on him, like, we're not going to let you to roll out to your right and try to get this in the corner of the end zone like he did in Auburn. Right. So I would have taken it to overtime. I'd stand by that.
I'm with you. And yeah, I felt like most of the stadium knew what was coming when he lined up there anyway. A designed rollout, give him an option to run, but, just roll him out where he's comfortable and he can still run. And yeah, I'm with you. And to your point, it, desperation or whatever. My feeling on 2-point conversions, and I've kind of always felt this way, if you're supposedly the better team and I feel like you have the better kicker, you force it to overtime.
Yep.
And we're both of those. We are, the better team, have the better kicker. Why not force it to overtime? But that's
Yeah,
always
that's a good point.
underdogs go for two. Try
Yep.
to win the game right there. So just to emphasize your point. Defensively, I thought held up pretty good most of the game. That long run by that quarterback, you can't
Yeah.
let you just can't.
It looked like the back seven was confused for most of the game about their run fits. Who was going to fit the alley play. So they were overcompensating that pitch out to the sweep to the alley, and Navy made him pay for it, and the quarterback just kept it, went right down in. You could see Boganowski and Kanik both flow to that alley side, and one of them was supposed to stay. I don't know which one. I refuse to look at the film. I'm done with looking at 24 stuff.
Yeah,
So, but
yeah.
that's what it looked like to me.
You've looked at enough film this year. I think you can. I think you can take a break from that. Yeah. So nail biter of a game. I just wanted to win, just for the 7-6 season. It just looks better than a losing season.
Sure. Yeah.
That's my whole deal. So
Two losing seasons in 3 years and
yeah,
0-3 in bowl games. Doesn't look great.
no, it does not. What other things do we need to talk about the game? That we pretty much sum it up already.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really want to talk
There's really,
anymore about it. I like Jacob Jordan. Guy, all year, he's earned himself a scholarship. I want to keep him just to. I mean, I don't think he's the greatest athletic profile, but the kid deserved and earned himself a scholarship on this team. I don't like that Barnes never got a touch. I don't know if he's like sick or
did he
transferring.
play at all?
I don't think he played. I don't
Okay.
think he played.
Yeah.
Which is strange. And Xavier Robinson got like 7 touches, and Salchuk happened to be, after a 3-week break, your number one running back who hadn't done anything for you all year. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like Salchuk, but I didn't think that he was our better running back. I thought that was kind of strange. And tight end room, my God, man. Can we please get some tight ends? Like, I'm getting really sick of just. I know Jake Roberts had a decent game. It was his last
Man, he
game in his
tied.
career.
He had the last touchdown of the game. Rob, what are you talking about? Our tight
I
end room
know.
is legit, man. It's a
No,
force.
it's a black hole of despair is what that room is. And
Uh,
we're on Sunday. It's Sunday, and Joe John Finley still hasn't been fired.
yeah.
Like, move on, man. Like just give him his peak slip. He's a grown ass man. He can take it. Just get him out. Like, he'll find himself a spot somewhere. He can go be an analyst.
Yeah. Yeah.
Plenty of
No,
analyst jobs out there.
yeah, I think he'll find. I think he'll find somewhere else to find a position. I think they're just doing the thing and letting him find it rather than making the firing, which I don't know.
Well,
I say
TikTok, man.
I
It's
just
been
do it,
weeks.
man. I know. Let's just do it.
TikTok.
Yeah.
Well, I
But
mean, look at the NIL stuff and the tight ends that we're targeting. I mean, they're FCS tight ends. I feel like a part of that is that we don't really have a future tight end coach there, and we need to wrap that up. We need to put a bow on that and
yeah,
move on.
yeah. So yeah, another losing season result in losing players, losing coaches, losing faith, losing whatever,
Yeah,
all of it. And
yeah,
what more evidence of that is losing Zac Alley yesterday. Kind of from what I gathered, kind of surprised the team, coaches, players. They expected him to stay. I think he even led him on to believe that as early as a few days ago. and jumps
I
ship
mean,
and takes off to um, West Virginia land. Uh,
West Virginia. Yep. Mountaineers.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm not sure why
that's a
he
step up job, right, Rob? Going from OU to
well,
West
from a
Virginia.
6 and 7 team to West Virginia, I guess. I don't know. It shouldn't be, but
Oof.
um yeah, Zach Alley, I don't know why he met with the team and then told him that to confirm all that. Maybe it was you don't know how that was reported though. If he was standing up in the locker room and it had the players all around him and he's like, I'm staying, or if he just happened to tell a couple of the seniors or a couple of people like, hey, no, I'm planning on staying, and that just spread. You don't know how exactly that communication, but um, he's at West Virginia. He's decided to leave. We know why. I know. I mean, what is your take? Why do you think Zach Alley left?
For me, for me, I think it's I think he's given just autonomy. He's given autonomy to actually run his defense, and he's not under Brent's shadow. So that's part of it. B, which you and I have already talked about, and I think this is kind of where you stand. Um, he feels like there's a lot of uncertainty with OU in the next year or so. Like,
Yep.
you know, you have another losing season. Brent's gone. I mean, we can just call it like it is. Brent's gone at
Yeah.
least, if not, AD and other people. Um, so for me, it's more the first part I was saying, just to have his autonomy and run his defense the way he wants to run his defense without having someone constantly over his shoulder, probably interjecting during the game. I mean, if that would bug me to no end. I've had situations at work like that
Sure.
where you know what I mean, and I hated it.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
just
Of
like
course.
having that autonomy and being able to run things the way you see fit. But what's your take on it?
Yeah, I think it's job security. At first, that's my number one reason is, coaching lifestyle. You move around the country quite a bit and you hop from one job to the next, and you do live on a 1, 2 year, 3 year shelf life and constantly, and providing security for your family from a, I would think would be your number one priority. And yes, you most likely offered more money up front, but having guaranteed work for at least 3 years, don't you think? That's a lot. That's a long time. And
For
the
sure.
opportunity to maybe, I mean, there's rumors that Rich Rod's gonna go to West Virginia and then retire and then hand it over to Zach. We don't know. I mean, I don't know how you guarantee that, but 3 years of guaranteed work is a lot for a family and everything. And he that's where I think the number one. Two, I think that Allie, like you mentioned, maybe the autonomy part, but maybe the work life balance wasn't what he thought it was at OU. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, I think coaches' lives are hard no matter what. Like it's 24/7, 365. It's a hard lifestyle, anyways. So I think it's job security. I think he's going to be able to go, and I don't think it's scheme. I don't think it was butting of the heads. I don't just think at the end of the day it was business, job security, end of story.
Yeah, I agree. And if he in fact got a 3-year deal, which I think that's what it's reported, but yeah, how can you not, you know,
I mean,
jump ship? I mean,
he,
we all
he's
want security at the end of the day,
right.
and so
He's he. How old is he? He's like 30, right?
I don't
And
even think he's 30 yet. I think he may still be 29, but whatever, he's young.
so he's not even 30, or he's about to be 30. He's like 30 years old, and he's a defensive coordinator. That is incredible. Not There's very few defensive coordinators that are that, or just coordinators that are that young, that have an opportunity for 3 years of guaranteed work at that spot. So he's protecting his career arc. If he stayed, and let's be honest, stayed and there's a risk, like you mentioned, BV gets let go, his career as a defensive coordinator he's not going to find a defensive coordinator spot. He would have to come back down and work his way back up again. So
Yeah.
it makes sense to me that you would, and we talked about it when Seth Luttrell was let go, that when we got into the offseason, we were going to wait for coaches to voluntarily leave. I didn't think Zac Alley was going to be voluntarily leave. I thought Jay Valai was going to be the guy to voluntarily leave, or a Brandon Hall getting a DC job or something like that was going to be the voluntarily leave. So this was it was surprising that Zac Alley was the one to voluntarily leave, but it makes sense from a job security standpoint.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess we're looking for another DC, whether it's in house or bringing someone from the outside. We're back to where we were this time last year, right?
New DC, new OC. So you're gonna, with Luttrell. God, I hope Joe John, Zac Alley. The next domino, like we mentioned, is Jay Valai, because in this new DC opening, there's no secret the guy has ambition to be a defensive coordinator. He that is what he wants. And for ever since he's gotten here, he's always, in the offseason, he's always flirted with leaving.
Mm-hmm.
There was other teams that were coming and knocking on the door, and we've always made it right. Does he stay if Brent passes on him again at the DC spot?
Yeah. Yeah. So in a scenario, he promotes Brandon Hall, like you're potentially suggesting. Yeah, I would think he would definitely test the water somewhere else. Then you're looking for another position coach, possibly two, but one for sure.
Right. So that's half your staff. That would be
Yeah.
4 coaches. That's half your staff
Yeah.
in a do or die year. So
Yeah.
that next domino is Jay Valai. If he is passed on again, it would be BV is going to have to recruit him to stay, and he's already been out recruited by West Virginia and Zac Alley.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Yeah. And I guess we'll just have to wait and see how that plays out. But just all the losses that piled up this year, and we've lost darn near 30 people to the portal. The latest one, Lewis Carter, was a rough hit. He's part of your linebacker depth.
Yeah.
And now losing
And
it.
that's not a coincidence right after Zac Alley, right? Alley announces,
Position
and then
coach
Lewis
gone.
Carter's in.
Yep.
Yep.
The program's just got a big black eye right now. I don't know how else to put it. Just I know every week we've tried to come on here with optimism every game, no matter what it was. And they just got to turn the tide, and they got 1 year to do it. There were some ultimatums that sound like that were thrown out. Some of those rumors have been squashed, that Joe C told the coaches that they got to win 9 games next year or whatever.
Well, 9's my number.
9 or else. Yeah. 9 would be great. The schedule's not easier.
It's harder.
It's hard. It's harder. You changing both coordinators again. You've lost significant players to the portal. You've only gotten 7 or 8 in from the portal. You're not better off today than you were a month ago, and you were a losing team in the SEC.
Yeah,
Ben Arbuckle,
Matier,
I get it.
Arbuckle, those are upgrades.
Yep,
for sure.
At least we hope.
I think they are for sure. I mean,
you've looked at more Arbuckle film than
yeah.
the average person.
I'm about 4 games charted so far. I got 8 more to do. In about 3 weeks, we'll have our Ben Arbuckle breakdown. We'll start that. We'll probably do like a 2-3 part series. We'll maybe do pass game, run game, and then Matier, something like that, give or take. But yeah, I mean, those are two major upgrades. But you're right. There's been a lot. I think overall, we're not as good as we were a month ago, and perception wise, we are taking a beating. You've got You've got a DC that leaves for a lower level job. You had infighting on medical staff drama, and then you've got all these players leaving the portal along with it. It looks like NIL is like constricted or like it is shrinking or shrunk or whatever. I don't
Drying
know.
up or whatever you
Drying
want to
out.
call it. Yeah.
NIL is drying out. I mean, yeah, it's kind of tough to be optimistic right now for me,
No,
anyways.
our this is a very poor analogy, but um, our players they're getting it's easy to poach our players right now. Extremely easy for someone to pick up the phone and be like, dude, you're on a sinking ship. Come play for us and have a,
Yeah.
fresh start. It's an easy sell. I hate to say it. But the OU brand can only take you so far, and that brand has taken a significant hit the last few years. So,
Yeah.
we're still a blue blood, but I think it's light blue right now.
Light blue. No, we're still blue blood.
I know that's what I
That has
said. We're still blue blood, but the blues just fading just a little bit. It's getting tarnished. Darn it.
yeah. Yeah, so I got this stat for what needs to happen in 2025 and um so what I did, yeah, let's go into this. So we're kind of talking about like what is I guess here's the question, Brad. What is the expectation for Oklahoma football
It's the same that it's been for the last 50 years to win championships.
to win championships? So
Compete for championships. How's that?
compete and win, right? We
Yeah.
want to
Yeah.
be competing
Mm-hmm.
and winning. You look at teams like Georgia who are down, they're having a down year and they win the SEC championship game and then they're in the playoffs. And they're not going to win a national championship, but on a down year, they're still winning. And um so I wanted to look at something because I there was on the boards talking about BV's win percentage. And his 56% win percentage, he has 22 wins and he's got 17 losses. 56%. And some people were kind of chit-chatting back and forth about Saban and his win percentage. Saban's win percentage was 54%. So in his first 3 years, he went 19-16 for 54%. And so I was like, okay, I kind of want to look at all coaches. I want to look at like what does it look like for a 56% win percentage in college football. So, in college football history, in the entire history of football, there has been 122 national champions, 122 national championship winning teams. So like uh the AP poll would Grant won and the coaches poll all those included 122. Out of those 122, 72 coaches have won those championships. Of those 72, 35 different teams. So I wanted to look and I wanted to say, okay, what was the last 122 championships? Where does that 56% would rank? And right now, Brent would be ranked at 54th or tied with his prior employer, Dabo Sweeney, at 56%. So out of those 72 coaches that have won championships, there have been, let's see, 20 of them that have won national championships with a 56% win percentage or lower. So that's not too bad. It's like 20.
Mm-hmm.
Of those 20, though, only 6 of them won them with the team that they were on. So after those initial 3 seasons, they
Mhm.
moved on to a different team, including Nick Saban. So Saban was with Michigan State. He had his 54%, and he moved on to the next team. So out of 6 coaches in the history of the game, or out of 72 coaches, only 6 of them had 56% or lower and won a natty for that team.
Mm.
And interesting, of those 6, it took them at least 7 years.
Oof.
So Bill McCartney was one. He had a 22% win percentage with Colorado. He didn't win his until the 9th year.
Mhm.
Ralph Jordan, Auburn, won it in his 7th year. Ben Schwartzwalder for Syracuse in 1949 won it in his 11th year. Bump Elliott of Michigan in 1959 won it in his 8th year. Dabo Swinney, 56% win percentage, the most recent one, won it in his 9th year. So getting
Wow.
to
So yeah, and so
yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
one guy in the last 35 years.
Yes. So
Wow.
it would go Dabo in 2016, then it would go to
Yeah.
Bill McCartney in 1990, then it would go to Bump Elliott in 1966, and then Ralph Jordan and Ben Swolser were 1959 and 57.
That's not that's not encouraging.
Yeah, I mean it's like there's something there for sunshine pumpers to say if we stay committed and we give him time, we can build something. Sweeney did it. Brent can do it too. And then there's something there for what they were calling now the doomers. They're like, this isn't going to happen. 6 coaches in 72, 6 out of 72. It's not going to happen. So, but I don't know. I just wanted to see what that looked like. Um, Lavelle Edwards was another one, 58% win percentage in his first 3 years, and he won it in his 13th year. Great coach, very influential coach. Danny Ford, 63%. Now he had a winning season every single year, but um, he won his in his 4th year, so he was the soonest one. But yeah, so out of the bottom 25 win percentage, national championship win coaches, only 6 of them stayed on with their team to win, and it
Hmm.
took at least 7 years to do.
Yeah, and
In
this
the history of the game, 122 years of football.
and this is probably a different era of college football where you just don't get such a long leash like you used to back in those days.
Yep.
You know, people would let you have just you see it. I mean, they'd give you 10, 15 years of mediocrity, which they just won't do that these days. But so
Yeah.
so I agree. The Mateer Arbuckle, pairing that came in, you know, that has the ability to flip the offense next year, depending on what we get out of the portal. We still need 2 or 3 playmakers to come out of the portal on the offensive side of the ball before that, comes to fruition. But um, where I think I know where do you stand on Venables? I'll put you on the spot. If there's a fence, which yard are you in?
Um,
You
as
in to
in
give
like,
him another year or two, or are you like
oh, it's 1 year. He's got 1 more year. I think. Um,
because there's a lot of people
it
that say
wasn't.
firing now. Are you in that boat too?
Um, realistically, it can't happen because we doubled his buyout. But if his buyout
Right.
was his original 20 million, yes, I would say go ahead and just
Okay.
move on.
Okay. That's
But
fair. Yep.
because of the buyout and some of the re-ups of the staff, you might as well ride him out for another year, even though it's as atrocious as it's starting now in December. That will directly impact the season next year. But um, that there's been so many decisions made to this point that have put us here, going back to like last summer, and it's just frustrating to go through it all and just read it all out and be like, I don't know why we're in this situation where we could have moved on, but
Mhm.
um, going into next year, I hate to make it feel like it's a wasted year. And with the way that the portal is going, the way the NIL it looks dried up and everything, I just that's the part that just really it just digs into me a little bit. Like we should be throwing the kitchen sink. And it this DC opening, it should be viewed as a positive to say, okay, we can rebuild that defensive side, and maybe Brent can make some changes and like hire a DC, give him a great team, analysts, build it out, and then have him stop sacrificing time being a head ball coach to be a DC and focus his time on being a CEO instead of maybe micromanaging or whatever the defense and just turn somebody loose. A la what Dan Lanning's doing in Oregon.
Mhm. Mhm.
Oregon was a terrible defense. They were in the bottom 130s in scoring defense not but like 4 years ago. And he goes in there, he doesn't call plays for the defense, but if you look at that analyst roles and all the way up to Tasha Poya, the defense, they are all like-minded, middle of the field closed, man match defense. He Dan Lanning like pulled guys from lower ranks of college football to even some high school guys, put them all in a room, and now he's got one of the better defensive staffs in the country. And now they're in the top 10 in the scoring defense. And then you look at what Brent has done with bringing Ted Roof in and bringing in, a very young, inexperienced DC. It's obvious that he wants control over the defense. Like his strategy is this defense is mine and I am going to control the every aspect of it. It's killing the team. Because the defense is, I mean, for the most part, with recruiting and everything, it's been good. But he needs to take a step back. He needs to create a team and turn them loose.
Yeah.
Just turn them
Yeah.
loose. Let go.
Yeah.
Manage the
Yeah.
game.
Yeah. You got to be able to delegate, just be able to let people do what they're supposed to do and hired to do,
I mean, can you
hopefully
explain?
Hall Valai have been under his tutelage for the last 3 years. You would think they would have a damn good idea on how he likes to run his defense. He just needs to
Sure.
trust them and, like you said, turn them loose. And yeah, I would like him to be the CEO, but he his game management skills and other things need to change a little bit. And maybe that's part of him being a CEO
Yeah.
is body language to me means a lot, watching him over in the sidelines. And it's always been Brent's body language. So, I've seen it for years, but it's not one that just gives me a lot of like calm and in control. It's a, he's got this nervous energy thing going on. And I just never feel like I like the cool guy that just looks like he's got it all together over there. Nothing phases him. Brent just looks like a nervous wreck half the time. Is it just me? Do you see that too?
Yes. Yeah.
I
I mean,
it
I love watching NFL, and one of my favorite head coaches is Mike Tomlin.
Yeah,
And like
perfect.
Mike
Yeah,
Tomlin is probably the most stoic head coach of all time. And there's a reason why he's been a head coach for so long, because he's
yeah,
that epitome of a CEO head coach that just manages his locker room. He just
yeah,
manages people and manages the game. Like he's not a big tactician. He's not a huge motivator, but take control and manage a team into victories. And on the sideline, I mean, he anything can happen, and his
same
hands are just in the
expression.
pocket.
Yep. Same expression.
And you can never like read the guy if he's panicking or if he's excited or nothing. He's
I
got
think
the ultimate poker face.
he does.
But Brent does look like a guy who is got a, like you said, a nervous tick. Like he just looks like
It
so.
drives me
He's got
nuts.
it's in the eyes, man. Those eyes, you
Yeah.
see a lot of pain behind those eyes. A lot of
Yeah.
nervous and just like, oh man,
No, that, and like, I don't mind him having that animation and that nervous look when the defense is out there because, that's what he's known all of his life. So he's into it. He's into the game. That's his baby, his defense. But when the offense is out there, you got to look more in control. And you know, I feel like he's been out coached, several games this year, by the other sidelines, just because
Missouri.
that, yeah, or just you name it. Maybe a little bit in the Ole Miss game a few times. Lane Kiffin's one of those guys that seems to have it together a lot on the sideline. I'll even say
Yeah.
it, and it makes me throw up, but Sarkisian, man, he's in
Oh
control
yeah.
when his offense is out there. I'm just you can name off guy after guy after guy. Lanning looks like he's having a ball over there. Like he's almost laughing at you.
Yeah.
He's like laughing at the opposing team, like he knows something they don't, which is
Yeah.
great too. Just it
Yeah.
just exudes confidence, like you just got everything under control, and I just don't feel that. I don't feel that with Brent, unfortunately. And I know you can't judge guy off his mannerisms, but man, drives me crazy, especially seasons like this.
Right.
We notice everything, right? We're hypersensitive to every little thing this year. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Some of
so
those.
yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say we're talking about coaches, talking about players leaving, portal, whatever. Where are you at with the, you know, athletic department, athletic director? Do you think uh, Joe C's just kind of, and I know, people like to talk about it on the message boards and everything else, but Bob Stoops gave him 20 years of um, like a free pass where he never had to touch he never had to touch the football program or worry about all this stuff that he's had to
Yeah.
worry about the last 6 years. Um, do you think he's still the right guy? Do you think a change is needed there, or what's your thoughts on the AD
I think
state
that
of the
the
AD? Yeah.
state of the 80, I
Uh,
think the 80 role is diminishing. I think the role of an athletic director in as far as coming, looking at college football is shrinking. Like the role is diminishing. Like you need a general manager. You need somebody that is a talent evaluator and a guy that has connections with branding. Like you look at the Courtney Morgan of Alabama, their general manager, he has all this like off the field connections with connecting players with NIL money, and he's a longtime head coach, a longtime coach. So a general manager is going to be the most powerful position, admin position in college football here very damn quickly because you're going to need somebody where to shield coaches, right? So Brent, the head coach, or whoever the head coach can just focus on coaching the team. Am coaching the team. He listens to his position coaches. I need a tight end. Let's talk about the H back. I need an H back. He goes to his general manager and says, I need an H back now. And that's it. And the general manager has his team of scouts and his team of talent evaluators and has his team of analysts that say, let's look at some film. Let's go into H-back. Find an H-back for head coach. Here's the three. Okay, who can we buy? Okay, these are the three that we can buy. Let's go get them. And then here, coach, here's the H-back. And coach says, great. The coach looks at the 3 options. They pour through tape. Coach doesn't have to do anything. He just looks at the 2 or 3. He picks the one that he wants, and they go get him. And Brent doesn't have to do anything. What in all of that does an $1 million a year AD do for you that doesn't know anything about talent evaluation or scouting or anything? Like, doesn't know the game. So if he doesn't know the game,
Yeah.
like, what use is an AD anymore? Like, that doesn't have any scouting experience, talent evaluation experience, doesn't have any experience collecting NIL sponsorships. I mean, what role is there for an athletic director in the future of college football? That's my question back to you. I
Yeah.
don't know.
No. So what I heard is you want Bob Stoots to come back as our AD.
Well, you know what? Bob would probably be better GM
Yeah.
than Joe
Uh,
C. I mean, he understands and knows football. And I think there's a lot of people that are like
yeah.
that can fit a GM role. And we've got this GM from the Philadelphia Eagles. That
Mhm,
guy's
mhm.
name escapes me,
Yeah.
but that role is going to be the most important role.
Mhm,
Communicating to the coaches, relaying to the donors, collecting the dollars, tracking the dollars, future forecasting the dollars. How can we build the team over the long term? What players do we need? Why would a school pay $1 million to an athletic director that
yeah.
can't do any of that for you?
Yeah. No, I'm with you. There's and you can look in the NFL and just find countless examples of the GMs up there that run the show.
Yeah,
The one that works for Detroit, I forget his name, but you're talking about a guy that's churned through rosters and just constantly upgraded that roster at Detroit the last 5 years. So he's like the perfect example. Now they have
yeah,
this just a well-oiled machine up there with just
yeah. They've
talent on both sides of the ball.
Yep.
Perfect,
That's what it's going to be like.
Yep,
I
yep.
mean, another example is Brett Veach of the Chiefs.
Mhm.
He was a
I knew
scout, a
you. I
low
knew you
low.
would name the Chiefs.
I know, I know, low level scout for the Eagles, low level, worked his way up, got into the room, and he was the only one pounding the table for Patrick Mahomes. He pounded the table, disagreed with the current GM, convinced Andy Reid to go for it, and now look at all the drafts that the Chiefs have had with him, with Creed Humphrey and others that have built a championship roster. That's the kind of GM that OU needs. They need someone that is got the smarts for the numbers, the smarts to deal with people outside of the program to collect donor money,
Mhm,
and then can sit down with a coach and watch film and get guys and identify guys to build that roster up. That is going to be the future of football, and it's coming really damn quickly.
mhm,
And that is that, and I'm not sure how an AD fits with the the hierarchy. You're looking at the organizational level hierarchy. To me, the GM is more powerful than the AD. If you're asking him to do those 3 different things,
yeah,
which is yeah.
yeah. No, the AD just needs to fall back into the role of overseeing all the entire athletic department and whatever that entails. That doesn't involve on the field type production.
So I mean, where your summarize your thoughts on Joe C?
Yeah. No, I think he's a good athletic director, but I think I don't know if you agree to disagree. I think just the times kind of pass guys by sometimes, and you kind of put the nail on the head right there. These NIL era, you need a different kind of athletic director.
Yeah.
You know, you can point south of the border, or a couple other programs that just have their athletic director, the way they're running things is the way they need to be ran these days. More like a business that you kind of pointed to, and I just think, yeah, Joe C's probably gotten comfortable over the last 5 to 10 years, and just doesn't have the same edge or I don't know. Maybe he had a little bit of a competitive advantage at one point somehow, and I think he's kind of lost that, just like everybody usually does sometime in their career, and it may be time for a change. But uh, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to evaluate athletic directors,
Yeah, I don't either.
and you can
I,
always downgrade if you let one guy go and get someone else in. But
if How I see it is with that extension that he provided Brent last summer, just re-upping him and doubling his buyout. If this was the NFL, if this was a franchise and Joe C was the president or the GM, Brent and him are tied to the hip. Like a franchise would be letting Brent go, would also let Joe C go as well. You would clean house. I just feel
mhm.
like I feel like Brent and Joe C are tied to the hip. If it was an NFL style, if this was like the way that we're looking at it, an NFL perspective, the two of them would be tied to the hip and they would both be gone for a failure of a season next year. But
so so
Joe
so
C
maybe
holds Joe
maybe
C holds
maybe
immense amount of power.
uh,
Like no one it's pretty interesting that no one criticizes Joe C.
yeah.
Like nobody. Like no everyone's afraid to give
I
him
was
any amount of criticism, and but like in any other place, like everyone would be questioning, why
uh,
did you double his buyout for fun? Like that doesn't make any sense. You control the power. Like why did you
right.
have to do that? Just because he
Yeah.
asked doesn't mean you have to give it to him.
Well, his nickname around here is the Godfather, so maybe there's more to that than what we know. So
Yeah.
no one speaks poorly of the
I
Godfather, Rob.
I will just say this. I am happy. I I I am having the time of my life.
Yeah,
If I
yeah,
were to disappear or you find me in a ditch somewhere, foul play was involved.
yeah, that's right. Um, so yeah, just just a lot of heads are on the chopping block over this next calendar year. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know what else to how else to put it. You can't really sugarcoat it at this point. So yeah, long season. Gonna be probably gonna feel like a longer off season. Just these type of years are hard to like
Yeah.
get any traction in the off season, but hopefully we get some good portal news. Maybe we get some good coaching news. That's really all that we can kind of hope for the next 30
Yeah.
days, and then we'll see how things go in the spring. So yeah, let's let's
Sorry, I just
let's
saw your
let's 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 put a bow on the season here.
yeah,
Just a
for sure.
our final notes on the season just did not go did not go the way we expected it. It all started in August with the injuries in fall camp, and just a bumpy a bumpy road the whole season. And it was pretty fitting for us to kind of lose that bowl game the way we did. Kind of poetic, just to kind of summarize our season. Yes, we'll find another way to lose a game. Here we go. Boom.
Failed
You
2-point
know,
conversion.
exactly. So,
Yes.
yeah, but turn the calendar on Wednesday on a new year. So, hopefully, the football team can do the same. I know you and I are turning the calendar on our podcast year as well. This was our first calendar year, moving into our second season, and I know you're excited. We've got some fun things coming down the road. I know you want to keep
Yeah.
some of that under wraps a little bit, but
Yes, I do.
um, yeah. Hey man, I'm not going to be the spoiler. Don't worry. It's pretty exciting. I'll tell the viewers that. So just kind of stay tuned. It'll be a lot of fun. Hopefully we, made it through a bunch of our growing pains this year and can bring you a little more polished version of our
Yeah.
podcast. Not that we're
Yeah.
bad by
We're
champion
newbies. We're still
standards or any
newbies.
other
Yeah.
standard for that
Yeah.
matter, but really looking forward to it. It's exciting. hopefully it's a way to reset and kind of re-energize and kick off the new year with a bang. So I appreciate everyone listening in, and till next year, Boomer Sooner.
Thanks, guys.